People are looking forward to this part of the program since our audience are waiting for our experts' view on the top 15 favorite stocks that we will discuss today. We will be asking both of Juanis and April to do this kind of very difficult job, I must say, of giving their short-term views on the stocks, whether they like the stock or not, and why. Again, their views will, please note that their views are just their own and may differ from all our analysts since these views are only for the near term. This is how it will work, no? In this speed round. First, we will flash the stock chart on the screen, and on my count, April and Juanis will raise a like and dislike sign simultaneously, like what we did before, no? After which, they'll briefly explain why they like or dislike the stock. Are you ready? Let's take a look at the first stock. What's our first stock? DITO. DITO, is this already a healthy correction? The Senate already approved their 25-year franchise renewal as they continue to deliver their pledges and was quoted to reach profitability in 5 years. Does the franchise justify the value being reflected now? April and Juanis, do you like or dislike it? Go. April doesn't like. Juanis doesn't like. Oh no, Juanis, why don't you like it? Isn't that a good correction already, DITO?
Yes, it may seem that it is, but there's still some technical readings that are still relatively soft. And I think it's quite possible that it needs to generate a much more firm base before pulling out of this correction. So maybe a little bit more.
A little bit more, huh? April, why don't you like the stock?
Well, the valuation, again, it's very expensive. I think recently DITO came out with a report from a third-party investment banker, and the implied value of the asset to be injected, or DITO Telco, is around 580 to 670 per share, and we're nowhere near that. And of course, not to mention, in the next few years, the company will still be losing money. So in other words, the honeymoon period is over. So we will most likely be seeing the net losses before the company becomes profitable.
So be careful, huh? So Juanis says, let's wait for a while. April doesn't like the fundamentals as much. So let's watch this stock.
And Marvin, if I may, I knew someone was going to ask about this. So I don't know if our team has a copy of the speculative chart that I gave you guys.
Oh.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, I just wanted to be able to remind people. I think I did this last time I met everyone, and I just wanted to be able to remind everybody that, whether it's DITO or any of the other smaller issues we're going to discuss later, try to understand what normally goes on with them so that you can be best prepared to what normally comes in. So when a startup or a new idea or a new company comes into fruition, remember, it takes time for that business to start up, put all the necessary pieces of a business together. And normally just on the news of a startup can create the speculative move. And that's where you can get very, very sharp advances. Now, after the speculation ends, lack of fresh news usually comes in and it becomes relatively quiet. Here's where speculators begin to leave. You can see that in the middle part of the graph, and the stock comes back down and sometimes can stay quiet for a very long time. We call this the orphan phase. This is orphan because you leave them behind and nobody else can take care of the investors who came inside. Now, what has to happen thereafter is that the real business has to be able to show itself. And if the real business remains to be just a speculative talk of something going on and you don't see any amount of cash or clear investment or any results of that, or actually seeing the business begin, even if they're not making money yet, it could keep this orphan phase ongoing, or you might even see several speculative types of swings up before seeing orphan phase all over again. And that's, I'm worried that some of the issues that we're seeing, or that we may even talk about today, will go to this phase. So again, you're going to have to ask yourself, in a company like DITO, for example, where are you here? because I think it's nice to know that at least Ditto is starting to begin their business already. So I think I really hope that the orphaning phase over here will not be too long anymore, because you've got businesses start to stake out. But if you see that example I had there on the right side, that's a picture of Globe Telecom, and Globe Telecom stayed, very, very weak for years before, even after it started its new operation, becoming a cellular business, and only started to climb up more solidly the minute they turned profitable, which is so many years after. And so I hope it doesn't happen with Ditto that case, but everybody has to prepare that we might go through this speculation and then orphan phase first, and a lot of that before the real business develops. So know where you are in this entire business process, and you should feel more aggressive towards the right side of this chart.
So let's watch, keep a close watch on Dito and see whether they're going to see this real business, no? Juanis, no? So the orphan period should hopefully shorten before we look at this, right? Okay, next stock. What is our next stock? ACEN. They are raising a total of 30 billion to continue acquiring power assets in their plans to generate 5,000 megawatts by 2025 from only currently 1,000 megawatts, or a growth of 5 times. It's like a growth stock. Are these expansion plans already in the price? April 1 is like or dislike? Like or dislike? Oh, April doesn't like, but Juanis likes it. April muna, why don't you like it?
Yeah, we just feel that the valuations are just too expensive. It's trading at 45 times PE. And just recently, they had a foreign investor who came in at 2 peso plus per share. So they're going to be issuing shares at 6 plus, I think, if I'm not mistaken, which, well, the funny thing is I asked our analyst about it, George Ching, and he said, well, if they can raise the money at 6 peso, it's good for the existing shareholders. But if you are the one who subscribes at 6 pesos, kawawa ka kasi you bought too expensive. That's what he said. And the price right now is how much? 6 plus. So in other words, don't buy it at this price.
Valuation pa rin tayo, April. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
So, one is, why do you like it naman? Looks like nag-drawn out na yung correction phase.
Well, for one, I like the way it's holding on into consolidation rather than falling down. It looks like people are gradually buying it. And I understand that April's concerns, and maybe that could be the reason why it's moving sideways, because there are a lot of challenges, I'm sure, that they're trying to be able to do this. But just by watching the volume, the attention being done, a lot of the corporate movements taking place into this stock, I really feel that the way these things are carrying themselves out, although they may not move up right away, but I think the short-term prospects in terms of a downside might be limited, and the potential to break out of the range is still there. So I think given that context, I still relatively am technically positive for ACEN.
Good. Technical looks good. Fundamentals, not so good. Okay. Next stock. Merrymart. In-job stock. Continues stores expansion, and now will even offer wholesale club deliveries by April this year. April 1 is, do you like this stock or not?
I'm sorry.
Juanis doesn't like it naman
Mali.
now. April doesn't.
Sorry.
April doesn't like it too.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, April, why don't you like it?
Yeah, well, again, valuation, the stock is just too expensive. And, right now you have so many companies in retail doing something similar, trading at much cheaper valuation. So I'd rather buy them than buy Merrymart, which, it doesn't even have the, what do you call that, the scale compared to the other retailers. So I'd just rather buy the other companies.
Juanis, you don't like it also?
Yeah, well, I think that short-term trend has turned down already, and yes, I know it's fallen to almost oversold levels, and that's the reason it's rebounding now. But the rebounds have been relatively light. It has not even come back to the moving averages yet, and that tells me there's still underlying pressure into Merrymart. So I think a rally towards 570 or if even possibly 610 will probably be arrested by some heavier selling. So I would probably be more inclined to be able to sell into that rally first and wait for a base out pattern later.
So technically sell into rally because of this downtrend still going to continue.
Yeah.
Looks like it, no, honest. Yeah. Next stock, please. APL. Looks like ACEN, no? It's raising 1 billion follow-on offering for their operations to mine magnetite, a material used to produce steel. But there's no earnings yet, no? But market continues to anticipate. So April Juanis, you like or dislike the stock? Oh, they both don't like it also. Okay, April, why don't you like it?
For us, it's a matter of, not being able to value the company at this point. And at this point, the value of the whole APL is at the 50 billion peso level, the market cap. And if you look at the other mining companies, a 50 billion market cap is really big. So I feel that it is a bit risky, even though, it's going to start operations. I don't know if, that is a value that can be sustained by APL, being a relatively newcomer.
Juanis looked at it. Oh, it looks like the ACEN. But how different is this than ACEN in terms of the chart, Juanis? Why
It's
don't you
weaker
like
than
it?
ASEN and it's fallen down to the next moving average, or MACDs are now negative. I'm seeing that you're in a C wave and you're probably only halfway there. So maybe if it falls back to the 200-day at 0.13, that might look better area to support. But right now, I don't see it just yet. So I am my short-term cash is still to stay away for it for the meantime. And like I told you, the especially those orphan phase that I told you about, they normally talk about mining companies in that scenario, and this is a classic example of it because it could take a while for things to manifest for the earnings side.
So is this still in the speculative phase, Juanis?
Yes. Although I understand that parts of the businesses have already started, like I think they've managed to be able to take in some ships already to do their mining, but I don't know. I mean, like April pointed out, it's still relatively new into the table of everybody, and we need more time to be able to make an assessment of how far it is along the business environment.
So we're careful with this as well, huh? Okay, our next stock. Metrobank. Interest rates are rising, giving opportunities to increase margins, but NPL also is rising. April Juanis, do you like or dislike this stock? Oh, April likes it. Juanis likes it. Finally, they both like it. Okay, April, why do you like it?
Well, first of all, the valuation is very cheap for the stock. And yeah, I know there is a threat of higher NPLs, but um, my view is no matter how bad things are going to be this year, it's going to be better than 2020. And as far as Metrobank is concerned, remember one of the reasons why the stock rallied a lot, I mean, if you look at this chart, no, was because it declared a huge cash dividend. And one of the reasons why it did was because they couldn't lend the money. There was no lending opportunity. So if business is bad, then maybe we will see more cash dividends going forward.
Good. Thank you. Juanis, how does the chart look?
Well, I gave this a green thumbs up only because it seems to be holding the consolidation rather than reacting down. So the two opportunities I see in this market will be a rally to resistance or a range trade. This is going to be a range trade. So given that that's one opportunity I'll see in this market, I will classify it there. So any weakness that you see in Metrobank, you buy it and then you sell it into the rally into the top end of the range. And right now, that's what we're gonna have to take out of this market as of yet.
Yeah, so trade this now, buy it when it goes a dip because of the fundamentals, no? Okay naman yung valuation according to April, and the chart looks good. Good. Next stock. What's this? PHA, backdoor listing of Squid Pay, an electronic wallet. recently completed raising 400 million to expand their operations. April Juanis, do you like it or you don't like it? Ah, they don't like it. Both of them don't like it. Thumbs down. Why don't you like it, April?
Well, first of all, it's gonna take a long time for fintech companies to become profitable. So, um, and of course, the lack of details yet. But this
Yeah.
company only started operating in 2020, and it's really gonna take a while for it to become profitable. I mean, imagine GCash, which is number one, to this day is still not profitable. How
Still
much
losing
more?
money. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, a Squid Pay that only started operating in 2020 is just doing a niche. It's a niche player, strong in Baguio, but I don't know. It will take time.
Yeah. One is, doesn't it look like it's consolidating smoothly?
Yes, but we have a potential double top in the works. That
Mm,
means that normally double tops are temporary topping patterns, and you could be just pausing now for the next decline. And again, just like the other stock, maybe if this goes down closer to 180 or maybe to the 200 day, which is closer to 127, that might be a stronger support for this to be able to look into. And I'm really very, I think we will be cautious. So here's an example of where an orphan phase can come in, because if things quiet down from the storyline, and people are going to be hungry for information to try to get this thing to move as a catalyst. If it's going to be absent, then there's always bigger chances for this to be able to settle down. I hope I'm wrong. If
okay.
this can climb above 250, then this will probably rally back to the previous high. But right now, I'd rather stay on the defensive side.
So wait for this to break, no? One is
Yeah.
this one, this strong resistance for looking at this, huh? Okay. Next stock, please. What's our next stock? Jollibee. Jollibee. Lockdown restrictions continue to affect this company because of our local business. But it seemed like it's turning around already. I think April last fourth quarter last year is already parang turning around. International business is expected to carry the growth, like Smash Burger and Coffee Bean are seen to be profitable this year, they say. So one is in April. Do you like it or don't like it? Oh, they both like it. You have two stocks now that they like. Great, great. Sige, one is ko muna. How does the chart look?
Well, like you said, in the short term, I see a trend reversal. The downtrend stopped right before the end of February. Then a nice rally came, although the pullback that it generated showed a higher low, and then a rally in this last 2 days or 2 3 days. So far so good. I wouldn't expect something very outstanding right now in an environment that's still relatively weak. But so far, little advanced signs better than the rest, like I said. So I would range trade this.
Yeah, yeah. It's good, you know. April, you like fundamentals?
Yeah. Um, this is one of the rare times that we actually have a buy rating on Jollibee, because it's
Expensive.
considered relatively cheap, and the company is turning around. So it's a great opportunity. I know that COVID, the increase in the number of infections in the Philippines will hurt its local operations. But you have to remember that a big chunk of operations are now also overseas, and that should
Yeah, yeah.
allow it to offset the weakness that they're seeing here locally. And we're quite happy that they do have that in line. And they said again, the local operations, because they had that cost cutting initiative last year, although I think they're already profitable, or the stores are starting to become profitable already, even though they haven't gone back to 2019 levels domestically.
But they're turning around now. Turning
Yeah,
around.
they are turning around because of the
Good,
cost
good.
cutting measures. Yeah.
Great, 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 great. So chart looks good and looks like the fundamentals are turning around. Thank you for Jollibee. Next stock, BDO, the largest bank, continues to be aggressive in their provisioning, no, and restructuring of loans to manage their NPLs ahead of the other banks. With interest rates rising, trading opportunities will come and margins can improve. Diba? So do you like it or you don't like it, April Juanis? Oh, they both like it too. BDO, Juanis, the chart look good?
Well, I'd cast it the same way as Metrobank. Since Metrobank is an area pattern, I would also move to range trade BDO. I was a little nervous a few days ago. Maybe if you asked me that 4 days ago, I would have a different
Yeah.
answer. But so
There
far,
was a
it
break
managed to
there,
hold.
di ba? Is that a
Yeah.
break, Juanis? Is
Well,
the
it
break?
broke the moving average, but it did not break the previous lows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's
So the area
that's
pattern
good.
is intact.
Great. April, good fundamentals, better.
Yeah, I think even with the increasing number of infections, you know, the fact that they did a lot of provisioning last year because they were anticipating NPLs to go up so much, provides upside risk this year. They don't need to provide as much, and although the risk of NPLs will go up, I don't expect it to, be that bad to the point that they will have to match last year's provisions.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you. So we already have two banks. I hope the audience are taking down notes, huh? BDO Metrobank's doing well. Okay, next stock, please. Metro Pacific. They are, I think, they're talking to Discovery World or Discovery Shores for a possible acquisition of these resorts, no? But it's also trading at substantial discount to their fair value. But when is the market going to appreciate that value? Do you like this or you don't like this? April 1 is. April likes it. Yep. But Juanis doesn't like. Okay. April, why do you like it?
Yeah. Well, if you think about the businesses that MPI owns, they're more on the defensive side. So even if uh, you know stricter lockdowns or people staying at home more, unlike last year, because last year we had ECQ, which was really bad, and people weren't really going out. But this time around, they said they won't do a nationwide type of ECQ. So you think about it, their business is power, water, toll roads. I mean, people are still going out there. It's already almost back to normal. Um, this stock also provides some dividends already, dividend yield. So yeah, and then the water business, I think a decision will be available soon. So that
Mm-hmm.
should also
Mm-hmm.
help.
Yeah, yeah. So fundamentally looking good. One is that a breakdown or is that a breakdown I'm seeing? How does it look?
Well, yes, it did break the 200-day moving average, but it's trying to be able to rally above it. My concern here is it looks like a very rounding type of top formation. So I think even if recovery comes back, even if you can stretch out to 410, 411, I think you'll still get some pressure. So what I want to see here is that it rallies, comes back down, makes a higher low, then turns around. I mean, that's the only time I'll probably look at MPI because right now it's on a downtrend and I don't feel too comfortable to be able to get in just yet. And the
Does
perpetual problem you're talking about has always existed in MPI that you've never seen them materialize on fair value.
the higher low one is you're looking at, no? The higher low. You wait for the higher low.
Yes, you have to because it's the only way they can pull out from a downtrend.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Next stock, please. Basic. What's this? So is this a speculative stuff? Backdoor listing of Flying V. I heard. So do you like it or you don't like it? April 1 is. Nope. Nope, they don't like it both. One is, why don't you like it?
Well, it looks even weaker than the other two smaller issues we covered, and it looks like it's still proceeding with its reaction. Could go all the way down to the 200-day, which is at almost 50 cents. So I'm not quite comfortable getting in just yet.
Okay, thanks. April, any fundamentals on this stock?
Yeah, still no details yet on the assets to be infused, and it's just hard. We can't value it properly at this point.
So it's too speculative for your taste.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next stock, please. Telephone, PLDT, good cash dividends. And I heard they have a new product now, Magic Data, as cheap as 99 pesos for 2 gigabytes without expiry. Looks like they're gearing up for the telco competition. So, April 1 is, do you like it or you don't like it? Oops. April likes it and Juanis likes it. We now have 4 stocks that they like. They both like. Okay, Juanis, how does the chart look?
Well, a chart that you see doesn't look too good, but if you're looking at a wider version of this chart, it's coming closer to the lower end of a big channel. And I actually anticipated that it actually would fall this one more time. And I think that might be the opportunity some people might be getting. Now, I know in the very, very short term, the downtrend is intact, and you probably want to wait for this to go over 1330 before buying. But for those who want to look at a bigger picture, I think you take advantage of this, whatever decline it can still come inside, especially if it comes closer to about 1200, which is where major support will be, or 1250, if I remember correctly.
Good, good. April? You like it?
Yeah, the company came out with good fourth quarter earnings, by the way, and then again, it provides a good dividend yield of around, I think, 6% na, no, at this current price.
Wow.
And aside from that, there could be some upside surprise because the company said they could pay out 65% of core profits instead of 60%. And then aside from that, it is more resilient to any increase in infection. Because as you can see in 2020, when we had the lockdowns and everything, profits still managed to grow. So even if we do have COVID lockdowns this year because rising number of infections, then demand for telcos and data will still remain strong.
Good, good. So fundamentals look good, technicals looks good, and you have
Yeah.
6% dividend.
Eh,
What more can you ask?
yeah, and maybe I think another plus is at least Ditto already launched diba, its services. And I think what you can say is that at least in the near term, it's not going to be a threat on PLDT and Globe because first of all, their package is 199 pesos, diba? And the 199 is actually expensive for the normal Pinoy. A lot of Filipinos don't even top up 199 pesos a month. Okay, the ARPU of the normal Pinoys is lower, and then it's not available for the 2G, 3G. I mean, normally when you're a new player that comes in, you target the lower end of the market, but then with the pricing and not offering the uh, service for the 2G, 3G, then you are tapping the higher end market, which might be more difficult.
Okay, it's good, it's good. Please. Next stock, please. DDMP REIT. It's still IPO, going to list next week. Diba? Next week na to listing another in-job stock company to be listed. But the difference now for this stock is that this REIT is that they own the property. And they will be adding additional properties every year. Will it perform like the IPOs of in-job kaya? How do we position in this stock next week? Do you like it or you don't like it? April 1 is. April doesn't like it, but one is going to
I will
say
beg
because
off. There's no chart.
There's no chart. April, why don't you like it? IPO in Jap.
Yeah, I just feel that well, first of all, the valuation is a bit pricey. The yield of DDMP REIT is 5%, and that said, it's almost the same as a REIT. In fact, after a REIT corrected because it came from 34, they went naging 32. Plus, of course, they announced pa another acquisition. The lalabas, magiging mas mura din a REIT. And then secondly, in terms of assets, comparing the two, for example, remember that the buildings in DDMP do not have PESA accreditation, and they're also there are a lot of pogos inside, and at this stage we don't know whether uh, the government will remain strict on pogos, and in 2020 a lot of pogos left the country. if the POGOs leave because they don't have PES accreditation, there is a risk that their offices will be empty. So higher vacancy rate will mean lower dividends for the REIT shareholders. Now, that said, okay, I do recognize that there is this in-job magic for the IPO
Yeah.
of his
Mm, mm,
stocks,
mm.
no? But the risk this time around is that he's raising much more money this time. This is a 40 billion market cap company on the IPO. So that said, he's raising around
14? Is it
13
14?
billion
Ah,
pesos,
13.
I think.
Yeah.
13 to 14 billion pesos.
Uh-huh.
So there is, because the bigger market cap, it will be harder to go up, just because of the size. Unlike, let's say, you raise a billion, 2 billion,
Uh,
magaan, di
uh,
ba? The
uh.
traders would say it's magaan, mabilis
Did they
tulakin,
offer this to the
So
foreigners? Did
I
they
think,
offer this to the foreigners?
and also there are foreign investors. Na I remember kasi when A-REIT listed, and then the first day, remember, it didn't go up,
Mm.
it went
Yeah.
down. And then, it was the foreigners who were selling the first day. They didn't have conviction to hold on to the issue. So I don't know, maybe we could see the foreigners also coming in and selling because they didn't see the opening pop. I don't know.
So let's watch next week what will happen to this stock.
Yeah. It's interesting,
Yeah,
actually.
it's really interesting. Next stock, please. GTCAP. Car sales are improving as reported. But I think they're imposing some duties, import duties for cars. April and Juanis, do you like it or you don't like it? Juanis likes it. April likes it. Okay, 5 stocks already. Good. GTCAP. Oh, April, why do you like it?
Well, valuations, of course, very cheap, and then car sales improving. Yeah, I know they're gonna impose the
Yeah.
70,000 peso bond,
Mm.
no? But that said, remember the best-selling models, the Vios and the Innova, are actually local,
Mm.
so those will be spared,
Mm-hmm,
no?
mm-hmm.
And of course, this company also owns Metrobank, and we also like Metrobank. So yeah, well, we just feel like, things are going to be better for the company.
Good. Good. One is, isn't that the breakdown of the moving
No,
average
it
as well?
managed to be able to hold above the previous lows, Marvin. So
Oh, okay.
while it's
Good.
in that pattern, I'll have to stay into a range trade situation. So I cannot issue a sell on this just yet.
You
So
like it.
so
You
far
like it.
range trade, you buy the lows and sell into the rallies.
Trade this. Okay, good. Next stock, please. Pure gold. The stock doesn't look good. It continues to go down. But there's like a bump, With the restrictions imposed, again, will this company have see earnings like what they did last year at the height of the lockdown? You think they're going to do that? They're going to experience that again? April 1 is, do you like or dislike this stock? April likes it, but Juanis doesn't like it. Juanis, is it really going to go down? Why don't you like it?
Uh, to me, the more important question is, will this go up? Because even if
Okay.
it goes sideways, I will not touch it. I mean, the whole idea is
Oh.
I want that downtrend to break, which it hasn't done. Let it go
Uh-huh.
above the 50-day EMA or that red line first. Then I'll change my mind. But right now, the downtrend is intact. It's been making lower lows. The divergence, I don't even see a healthy divergence enough to stop the decline.
Yeah.
Although
Yeah.
nice rally today though, but it needs to
Yeah.
do more.
Mm. Stock continues to go down. April, but the fundamentals look good. Does it look good? April?
Actually, a while ago I was chatting with my analyst, and I had a bit of a dilemma because I was looking at the valuations. I think this is one of the cheapest stocks already in the index in terms of PEs. Uh, Maybe, in terms of relative to its mean PE, I think this is like more than 2 standard deviations below. And uh, that said, yeah, and you know, I'll share the bad news first. Okay, the bad news is most likely um, the earnings will be lower this year compared to
Oh.
last year, as of course last year may panic
Hmm.
buying, pantry
Yeah,
stocking,
yeah,
di
yeah.
ba? This year,
Wala.
you know, wala. Bakit kayo? Nag-shopping ba kayo sa grocery? Di ba? Dahil tumaas ang cases. Wala naman eh.
Okay.
And people have, people don't have money. People have less money. And nobody wants to donate anymore
Ah,
because people don't have money to donate.
okay, okay.
So, they're being hit. They're being affected by that. So yun eh. But that said, I mean, yun na nga, ang sabi ng analyst ko, may point siya. Would you rather a company that had 100 in earnings fell to 40 and is now recovering to 70, or a company whose earnings from 100 is falling maybe to 90, 85, and then the valuations are back to, you know it's almost back to the first plunge during the COVID crash
Mm-hmm,
in
mm-hmm,
March.
mm-hmm.
So it's that extreme. Parang, yeah, I know, parang it's not a perfect story, but the valuations are that cheap. Hindi naman siguro, 'di ba?
Okay,
Hindi naman justifiable.
okay. Valuation's okay na, but the chart doesn't look good for
Mm.
Juanis. Okay, we still have a couple of stocks that tied on the last 15. Let's have them. Next stock, DMCI. Ano ba to? It's trading like 50% discount to fair value, and the stock has been on a long consolidation. Looks like April 1 is, do you like it or you don't like it? Juanis doesn't like it, but April likes it. Juanis, why don't you like it?
Well, normally consolidations like this, I can still put that green thumb up, but
Hmm.
MACD is not looking good. I can't see the pickup in momentum. RSI is still very weak, and it's now threatening support. So I would feel very tender in an issue like that. So I'd rather play it safe in this particular case.
Okay, okay. Not too hot on that. April, you like it?
Yeah, but again, it's more of a valuation issue, and coming from a low base last year. But then I do realize that maybe right now, because people are into clean energy, diba, ESG, whatever, the fact that it owns a big
Hmm.
chunk of Semirara, it
Mm-hmm.
might be a turn off to some people, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, DMC. Okay, okay. Oh, we're now on our last stock. What's our next? This is the last na, no? Ayala Land. What? There seems to be a spike in office vacancies, but the mall volumes continue to be weak. It was reported. So April 1 is, do you like Ali? Juanis doesn't like it, but April likes it. Juanis, how does the chart look?
Well, I see a short-term downtrend. Even if it were to rally back to 38, it would not have broken that downtrend. So I will stand back while that corrective trend is still intact.
Stand back first. April, you like it already. Why?
Yeah. Well, on the office side, it has a good portfolio of offices with PESA accreditation. So, yun nga, less vulnerable to vacancies. Um, on the residential side, that one is surprisingly strong. People are actually buying houses, especially since I think they have a lot of land bank and they're now focusing on the land, on selling land in the provinces, because of this uso ng mga work from home, etc. And the only threat would be the malls. But then again, we are coming from a very low base in 2020. So that said, I still think there will be some increase in profit. So, I mean, it's not going to be as good maybe as we initially thought. But that said, it's still going to be up from last year.
Okay, thank you very much. We tackled about 16 stocks. I hope our audience they were able to take some notes because looks like there are some pockets of opportunities that you showed here, Juanis and April. No, I took down about 5 that you both like: Metrobank, Jollibee, BDO, Telephone, GTCAP. So hopefully our audience was able to catch that and maybe look at some that Juanis likes and probably some that April likes. You can look at over the short term at least. No. Again, please note that their views are on their own, and may differ from our analyst view since these views are only for the short term.